You were voted, Sharon, one of the top 50 most influential women in Irish sport.
The lady captain coming up going, oh my God, Sebi Ballesteros sitting in the pro shop. I think after this, they should invite you to play the game. It's not the problem of pricing it. The problem is availability.
Today's episode is dedicated to Bernard Johnston. That's Chris's uncle who lives over in Ireland. And unfortunately, he's not feeling very well at the moment. So we wish him all the best and a speedy recovery. And Bernard, this episode is dedicated to you from Chris. Now, our episode today is about golf in Ireland. We haven't touched Ireland yet as a destination to play golf. So we're very excited about having a wonderful guest on. It's a person who knows an incredible amount about golf in general in Ireland. She's been around golf and has known about golf in Ireland all of her life. So we are very, very happy to welcome onto our podcast Sharon Smurfit, who has been the director of golf at the K Club. Now, before we carry on with the episode and get into this wonderful chat with Sharon, could I ask that you follow, like, or subscribe wherever you're getting this podcast, whether it's on video or audio, because it helps us get people like Sharon on the podcast. So please do that. We're getting great numbers at the minute, and we're getting some fantastic opportunities and fantastic guests on. So let's keep that momentum going. That's all it takes is 2 seconds of your time to click like, click subscribe. And if you're on YouTube, click the notification bell so you get our latest videos straight as a notification when you log on to YouTube. Now back to the episode.
So far on our quest to play the top 100 golf courses in the UK and Ireland, we've managed to tick off courses in England, Scotland and Wales. But we're still missing a vital part of that journey. It's where the whole idea germinated and the reason this mad endeavour exists. And that's the Emerald Isle area. Yes, we're going to be talking about golf in Ireland today. And there's no better person than our guest that we've got today to talk about golf in Ireland. She's one of the most respected and influential figures in Irish golf. She was the director of golf at the K Club for the best part of a decade, including one of Irish golf's most famous moments when Rory won the Irish Open in 2016. She then moved on into golf club consultancy, advising golf clubs, committees and tournament organisers. And more recently, she's taken over the publication of Talk Golf Ireland, a publication that talks about all things Irish golf. So, Sharon, like I say, there's not many people that are better placed than you to kind of talk us through Irish golf at the minute. So do you want to just give us a little potted history of your kind of journey through golf and some of those accolades that we've just kind of rolled off?
Sure. Hi, guys. Nice to see you and your listeners. Yeah, I suppose I came to golf quite late in life. I didn't start until my early 30s. And even though golf was in the family for a long time through my dad, so I started to learn to play golf myself and got sort of, I think because I was a hockey player, it sort of just came naturally from, from being playing in school. And yeah, so when dad said to me, I think it's time you got a real job, I think you better go in and start working for me. I had worked for him previously in the Smurfit group for a couple of years, but I found paper and packaging quite I'm not going to say boring, but it was definitely not my cup of tea. And I went to work in the K Club as the membership manager, and I sort of worked my way to becoming director of golf. I did a lot of courses. Worked with this. I did the program with this Club Managers Association of Europe, and yeah, so I ended up as director of golf there, which was certainly an experience. It was. I definitely should have written a book. That's what I should have done. That would have been. I should have kept a diary of all the things that happened over the 10 years. So yeah, so I mean, obviously the Ryder Cup happened there in 2006, a little bit before my time, but I was there at it. And then I was instrumental in running the 2016 Irish Open, which was a huge experience and a fantastic event. Even it's been overdone again. It's been done again by Rory since then, and which is fantastic. And yeah, it's just a great place. Was a great place to be and a great place to work and people to work with and all the rest. So Yeah, so that's where sort of my journey went. I'm not going to give you my age, so therefore you'll have to work out how long I've been out of it for.
We'll figure it out, Sharon.
um,
We'll get a timeline
I'm,
together. We'll.
yeah, everybody's now calculating what I'm doing, what age I am. Soon to be another year older next month. Um, so yeah, so from there, I suppose when we sold the K Club just before COVID in 2020, I found myself at a very sort of at a limb, I suppose. I found it quite tough. When you worked, I've always worked. When I left school, I didn't go to college. I went straight into work. I went to London for a couple of years. I went to Australia. So I've always worked, and yeah. So I suppose from there, I just decided that golf in Ireland needed something a little bit more. And from there, I decided, because people started asking me, "Oh, you've got great experience from being, director of golf. Could you help us out a little bit in the golf club?" And that's where sort of the consultancy side of stuff came about. I did a little bit of, some secret shopping for clubs. I would be available to them by email. I'd call down, I'd check out their facilities, see what could be improved. If there was, what sort of money could be spent, a little bit of help them with a bit of governance. Dealing with members that might be having, being an issue. So just general guidance and stuff like that, and consultancy. So I did that for 2 years, and then no, for one. Well, I'm still sort of doing that a little bit. But then the opportunity came to buy this newspaper, and it's sort of something I've always been quite interested in, to get into media. I'm no journalist, so I
No,
was like,
neither are we,
ooh.
Sharon. I wouldn't worry about that.
I know. So it's like, can you do this? You doubt yourself 1,000 times, and you write the pros and the cons. But it was a great opportunity, and it's sort of, we've obviously progressed from where we've come from there. Where we bought it originally 2 years ago, or a year and a half ago.
And I mean, I guess, just actually, obviously, your kind of job and your career has been guided by golf. But I mean, I guess you've got a passion for playing golf as well, which kind of drives you through that as well.
Yeah, no, do you know what? Golf is a fantastic game, as you probably everybody knows. It's just the friendships you gain. I mean, more than anything else. I mean, I don't take my golf too seriously. I'm very competitive when it comes to interclub matches and stuff like that. I don't tend to play the club match plays as much anymore. But I really enjoy interclub matches, and I just love going out with my friends, and
Yeah,
meeting new people and playing. Sometimes I hack my way around, and sometimes I, play very well.
yeah.
So,
And I think us starting this journey, obviously, just trying to play the top 100 courses. I think that was the initial goal. But I think since we've started it, I think, like you say, the kind of community and the people around golf has been the thing that's actually been probably the more enjoyable side of it. So people kind of reaching out and saying, "Oh yeah, come and play at our club." Like there is such a great camaraderie and community in golf, isn't there? And it's pretty unique and special, I think, to golf and golfers.
yeah. And I think because golf is such an individual sport for yourself, so it's like, it's nearly, it's a mind game as well as a physical game. And you have to share that mindfulness with somebody else, or not mindfulness, but you have to be able to, some people take it very seriously, and some people, get very annoyed with themselves and all the rest. As I say, I don't worry about my golf. I do get a little bit cross if I have a very bad day, but yeah, I mean, just to go out, meet friends prior, afterwards,
Yeah,
sit down. I mean, I play out at the K Club still, and I play in Elm Park. So Elm Park is like a stone's throw away from me, from where I live. So whereas the K Club is 45 minutes away. So,
yeah.
I can leave my car in Elm Park and have a 19th hole after golf bevy if I feel like
And
it.
still make
But I
it all the
can't
way
do that
home
in the K
intact.
Club. Yeah, can't do that in the K Club. Yeah.
Brilliant. So, Sharon, it'd be really good to just dig in a little bit more to your kind of time at the K Club, how that kind of came about. It would be really nice to hear about some of the some of the experiences you've had there, some of the people you've met along the way. I mean, if you just look through some of your kind of camera rolls, it's a bit of a who's who of Irish sport. So it'd be great to just kind of dig into a little bit of those experiences and talk a little bit about, obviously Rory's win there in 2016. I think you were managing it at that point. I think that's one of my initial attest to this. My memory is terrible, but one of those kind of key moments in golf that I remember is that last shot of Rory's into the 18th, and that's kind of ingrained in my memory. So yeah, because just dig into your time a little bit there in terms of what you did and your experiences and what you took from that
Yeah,
experience.
absolutely. I think that, I was obviously very lucky. I mean, the K Club being so iconic after the Ryder Cup, we were very lucky to get a lot of celebrities and stuff like that. So you think your memory's bad? Oh my God. I'm definitely, this is why I said I should have written a book, or a diary of some description
It'd be worth
to
a fortune now.
memorize. I did, but I did get to meet some amazing like Hollywood stars and people like that. We had oh, now you see you're going to test my memory now of all the people that I used to meet, but obviously a lot of rugby, Brian O'Driscoll, there were so many that came down. We had pro-ams as well, so there were always professional golfers, and then there were people like who had their own events, that would we would host at the K Club, and they would also have a lot of celebrities. So it became a very sort of iconic place that you could be walking around the snack bar, and next minute you'd get the lady captain coming up going, oh my God, is that Sebi Ballesteros sitting in the pro shop, and you're going, or sitting in the snack bar, and you're going, yeah. And he's, oh, do you think I could get a photograph with him? So I said, well, I said, go ask him. And and she said, no, 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 why can't you do it for me? So I went up and I said, Mr. Ballesteros, I said, is it possible that you would like to have a photograph with our lady captain this year? And he went, absolutely. So so he was like, of course I would love to have a photograph with the lady captain. So that was one of my funniest moments. But we've obviously had Arna Palmer design both courses, so many a visit there as well. We've had of every golfer that's possibly been, obviously all the Irish golfers, Shane Larry, Porter Carrington, the usual. And yeah, it was just it was an amazing journey. I mean, as I was saying there to you earlier on, the members, have a wonderful appreciation of the fantastic golf course that it is, and they actually have two golf courses, which we mustn't forget. Which the second one came later, but and with its own clubhouse, and both courses are very unique. Obviously the Ryder Cup course is one, and then we have the now called the South course. It used to be called the Smurfit course. It's now called the South course, and that's an inland links course. So being director of golf for the two courses was great, busy, very busy, but I had a great team around me, so I couldn't complain. Hardworking young kids every summer come in, great experience, who've gone on to do greater things and become managers themselves. So for me, it's all about training people, making sure people get, the experience and get to learn, and and try and empower them to make decisions. I can't bear people that just, or managers that just, a bit controlling and like to I mean, I'm a little bit controlling, but I like to make sure that things are done right in that sense. But I do believe that people should make mistakes as well, and be fair about it. But yeah, so the K Club, look, it was a wonderful, wonderful place, and there's basically so many people that we met over the years, and I definitely have a nice wall of fame here. And Justin Timberlake is on my wall of fame. Um, and so, yeah, lots of actors, lots of, mostly men, very few females, as we know, play golf in those days.
Yeah. And we'll kind of touch
Uh,
on that a little bit later as well. I think just in terms of
mm,
women in golf and Ireland and kind of what that looks like. But kind of just sticking with the K Club for now. In terms of that kind of organising those big tournaments and big events, obviously you were heavily involved in that side of thing. What did that look like from your side in terms of managing those things?
Well, we put together obviously an internal team first. I didn't really have much involvement in the outside negotiations with with the European tour at the very beginning of the negotiations to discuss, what the K Club or what the venue would get, per se. Obviously, we would have negotiated membership, what the members would get and versus tickets and stuff like that, and then our hospitality area for the members. So my focus was obviously on the membership side and making sure that they were all very well looked after. And then sort of a year out, then we would have got more involved with the European tour. We would have had a big, we call it the book, and every, thing would be in it, from the production side to, dealing with the European tour. Everybody had their own roles, obviously, and the European tour would have had their representative. And I say it was the European tour because I'm thinking it was the European tour at the time and not DP tour.
Yeah.
But so they would have had their representations, and then they would have had this full build up. It was just sort of coordinating, that everybody together and making sure everybody was singing off the same hymn sheet and everybody knew what was going on. There's nothing worse than running an event when half the people are walking around with their head in the sky and you sort of say, "What are you doing?" And they said, "Well, I don't know what I'm meant to be doing," and that's the thing. So it is a good, thing to make sure everybody knows. It's no secret, everybody's, sometimes you think these things should be a secret. And, so let them know what's happening, give them the information. If they don't follow it, that's a different story. And then obviously as the tournament got closer and the reissuing of tickets, in those days it would have been actually a physical ticket. So that would have been an interesting challenge. Members would have had to come and pick up their tickets, sign for them, their car
Yeah.
park passes, all paper based. And then we had to obviously look after all the players, the caddies, the wives, and the hotel was separate. They looked after all of the guests up at the hotel, and we sort of looked after everything in the clubhouse. So whether so making sure that we brought in a special food and beverage expert to help style everything for the players, and whilst not saying the food and beverage team were, they produced all the food and the service, it was just the look of how it all looked on buffets, and it was just stunning. They really were paid off to do something like that. And yeah, just making sure the members were looked after, making sure all the players were looked after. I worked with Niall and Darielle in the office, and Niall is the golf operations manager who's still there. And, he would have run all of the range, made sure the range was up and running, the locker rooms for the bags, the players' bags, the caddies, all of that sort of operational side. So
Yeah.
him and his team were phenomenal.
When we first started looking at this list, properly and understanding where all these courses were, there were two real omissions from there. One of them being the K Club, and one of them being the Woburn over here in the UK. Because, like you said, I mean, the K Club was like the go-to golf course for Ireland for as long as I remember. So I was obsessed with golf in the kind of the early 2000s, and it was always hosting the European Open, and it's held the Irish Open several times. Like you said, the Ryder Cup. Do you kind of know or understand why, or got any thoughts on why you think that the K Club is not currently in our top 100 list?
Well, first and foremost, lists are subjective, as I say. Whilst there is obviously an expert panel, no doubtedly doing these lists of golf courses, what makes them a great golf course? Personally, it's not just the grain of the grass and the quality of the greens and obviously the aesthetics of the course. For me, it's the whole experience. And you know if a so why do I think I've never played Woburn, so I don't know. So I've never even been to Woburn, so I certainly cannot comment on. In
Yeah.
fact, I've played very little golf in the UK. I very luckily got to play Royal St. Lytham last year or 2 years ago, which was amazing. Um, but I've played very little golf in the UK, which is on my list of things one day to do.
Yeah.
So as I say, lists are very subjective. And I think with Ireland, unfortunately, I mean, there's no reason why the K Club should be off any list. You know, the North Parma North course. My husband's a scratch golfer, and he says is one of the best golf courses in Ireland.
Yeah.
Now, the only reason I would think, if there was a reason why, is because there's so many fantastic links courses in Ireland, and Ireland is known for links.
Yeah.
And you know, it's hard to take off a good links course to add a parkland course. So maybe that's one of the reasons why it wasn't there. I mean, but even still, it should be there. It's definitely better than some links courses, you know.
Yeah,
Not,
do you know, I'm going to chirp in with this list thing now, because it's as we're doing this, it's starting to really kind of wind me up a little bit, because I just recently played a course just last week. It was Conway, fantastic golf course, you know, all that kind of thing, and it's got everything around it that would be a top 100 course normally, and it's nowhere near, you know, that kind of thing. But then also, you know, think there have to be 100 golf courses, don't they? You know, and we've got whatever in the UK and Ireland. There's probably like 6,000 golf courses, something crazy like that. So there has to be a top 100. But I do find this links bias quite irritating, if I'm perfectly honest with you. And I'll say that I'd never really played much links golf before we started doing this. I have an appreciation for it, absolutely, and I get it. It's it's probably seen as the most purest form of the game and all that kind of thing. And I think this is where you said, Sharon, it's subjective, isn't it, a list, right? So for me, trees, hearing birds, seeing a bit of water, not sea, but like, you know, like a lake or something that's more tranquil, you know, narrow fairways, that kind of thing, that suits my eye so much. I'm not saying I keep it straight, but it suits my eye, and I find that a more peaceful experience. Now, I like the beach. I'm a beach person, all that kind of thing. But it's not, for me, being on the coast is not necessarily synonymous with playing golf. For me, it's being in a parkland setting. Actually, to be fair, I've really liked the Heathland courses we played in Surrey. They've been amazing, because I think they've got a really good blend of that. But I find this links bias really irritating. I don't know why. It's starting to get to me more and more and more as we're going on now.
Well, I mean, links golf is phenomenal. I mean, links golf is true golf. I mean, you know, at the end of the day, not taking anything away. I mean, you know, I think the thing is, the reason why, you know, Ireland and you know, all these links courses gets mentioned is because we get so many visitors from the United States, from North America, and now Asia and Canada and everywhere. To come to Ireland and Scotland, you know, which is synonymous, obviously, as well with golf, links golf, to play unique type of golf, you know, which is where the likes of Rory learned their golf, you know, and even like Shane didn't learn his golf. He was in Tullamore, you know. So a lot of people would learn, you know, a lot of young kids nowadays coming up would be out playing on links courses, because they say if you can play a links course, you can play any course.
Yep.
So the lists are very, you know, I don't believe there should be lists. You know, I believe every club has their own amazing stuff. Every member believes their club is the best club, and rightly so, you know. And you know, I'm very lucky to be a member of two clubs. I like playing both of them. I know people who are members of links courses absolutely just cannot get there fast enough and don't like playing that many parkland courses. So I don't play a huge amount of links myself, because it's hard enough to wonder where my ball's going to land on a parkland course, but on a links course, it could literally go anywhere. Yeah, look, it is subjective, but links is an amazing experience, and I think that's what brings people to Ireland to play golf. Now, with the K Club, I think that they're very lucky. They're only 40 minutes from Dublin. They can they capture that sort of American groups, or travelers coming into Dublin Airport, maybe heading off to the north or the west, and they might like a stopover on the night before or the night on the way back. So they do get that. They're lucky enough to get that sort of visitor that comes to visit them, and they're busy. It's a busy
And
course.
I suppose this helped as well, didn't it? It's as soon as you've done that,
Yeah.
it's put very much you're on the map, aren't you?
Yeah, but I think Rory is probably, it's funny. I think Rory's win last year and, you know, and before, just, even when you go down there, there's the memorabilia of the Ryder Cup, there's memorabilia of Rory everywhere. And, I just think it is that sort of place you can sit and have your photograph taken, outside the Ryder Cup sign. Yeah, it's like one of those, when you go to St Andrews, you're just going to have to go and stand outside the old clubhouse or stand on
Yeah,
the first tee, even if you never get to play it. You know what I mean? It's just iconic. You just have to do it.
that's me all over, Sharon. That's me. I'd actually. I don't even need to play golf. I can spend
I
the
know.
5 hours just taking pictures of everything.
And by the way, the K Club are not paying me to say this, but I will be in touch.
Yeah.
So were you there in 2016, Sharon, on that kind of final day when Rory won? Were you?
Oh, I
You
was,
were.
yes. And I miraculously was coming from the 18th, coming out, and I slipped.
No.
I went flying in front of all of the people. Thankfully, it wasn't seen on camera, but I ended up with yeah, I was there, yeah. But when you're working,
Yeah.
I actually got married that year, so it was funny. I lost a stone and a half in that week. It was the best week I had, because just by I got married, and the Irish Open was in May, and I got married at the beginning of June. So
Right.
I got
Okay.
about 3 weeks later. So it was quite
Right.
interesting. I
Bit of
was
a
like, oh
hectic
my
period
God.
then.
Yeah, but it was great. I lost a stone and a half running around. So I think when you're working at an event, it's very different. You don't
Yeah.
really, I didn't get to see any golf,
Right. Okay.
put it that way. So
Yeah.
that was a bit of a downer, but
Yeah.
then it's constantly out there to see.
But I guess you would
And
you would
my
have.
you mentioned your favorite shot was the 18th, the iconic, but
Yeah.
actually the shot of the year, that for me was on the 16th at the time, when he hit that most unbelievable shot. And you guys need to come over. There's a plaque on the ground, and every time my ball lands there for my second shot, I look up and I go, how is it physically possible to hit that green,
Yeah.
an island green, from where he
Yeah.
was?
So that's the one.
You know,
The little river just running in front of it, isn't it? The little back in
the
front.
river, and it goes across. But actually, when Tiger Woods played there for the Ryder Cup in his practice round, he was actually further over on the left near the trees. Those trees are now all gone, but they were further over on the left. So, and he hit the same shot a little bit further back, and like whatever, onto the green. And we were just standing there going, oh my God, like, how is it physically possible
Yeah.
to hit this ball that far, Anyway.
So I think we talked a little bit about kind of some of the bigger clubs and some of the smaller clubs that you kind of champion. So it'd be good to kind of have a little chat about your foray into the kind of Torque Island golf and what you do there, and
Mhm.
who you championing and why.
Excuse me. Yeah, so as I say, when I took over the newspaper, we rebranded it to Talk Golf Ireland. I felt that, there needed to be more telling people stories, real golfers, people who are actually in playing golf in their golf club, their local golf club, and the achievements. While we have obviously all of our governing bodies who are talking about our elite golfers, and we have professional golfers, and there's plenty of people talking about our professional golfers, we sometimes get forgotten about, that the actual golfer who is paying the membership to keep these clubs alive. And so I just thought, you know what? We used to print the results in the newspapers here of people, and everybody would look every week to see did they know anybody that won a prize. And whilst we can't really do that anymore with GDPR and everything else like that, we can certainly, clubs now send us their accolades of their members, their hole in ones, if a member has won a volunteer award, or maybe some new changes, or they've got a job they'd like to advertise. So then they have obviously memberships come, certain times of the year they would advertise their memberships, they would talk about their open days, but just, generally getting that information out about the club and letting people know, so that maybe one day you're driving through this area and you go, God, I remember, you know, Mullingar Golf Club, I'm going to go pop in and say hello, or Galway Bay, or, so wherever it might be. And so that's where it stemmed from. We decided we'd do some printed issues, which has gone down so well. Unfortunately, print is very expensive, as we know. So we did two print issues last year that were our first two, and now we've also done digital, and now we do a twice a month digital issue as well. So yeah, so it's just collating all that information about people, picking it up myself on social media. I try and sit there. I sort of tend to work from 6 in the evening to like 10 o'clock at night. I find that much more productive. I like to worry about my day during the day if I'm meeting people or having a meeting or something like this. Then at least I can focus on, grabbing all that information and putting it into the digital stuff, and then we will go have our first print edition at the end of March, hopefully.
So, like we were saying earlier, that the community around golf, I think, is probably the thing that we've enjoyed most out of this experience that we've had so far in the top 100. And I think it's really great that there's somebody out there kind of championing that community and kind of getting those stories across, because it's, it's more important than the kind of golf and the courses itself, isn't it? Is the people and the communities around that. So I think it's a really great thing to be doing, and a really, I've had to read through some of your editions, and it's really great stuff, and really kind of grassroots, and everyone's kind of involved from, all aspects of Irish golf. So it is, it's a really brilliant read. So I'll be reading that regularly from now on.
Thank you, thank you.
I've
Well, I
got a
just
question
let
for you,
you know
Sharon.
on just on the Talk Golf that so I've set up a Instagram page. We have other Instagram pages as well, with Talk Golf UK, Talk Golf Spain, Portugal, UK, obviously, and international, i.e. rest of the world. So with the Talk Golf UK one, which is might be of interest to your followers, so we're now just basically reposting anything that golf clubs in the UK that we come across. Some are now beginning to tag us as well to repost. And whilst it's a very small following at the moment, we will continue to grow and grow and grow. And we do have a Talk Golf UK page on our website. I suppose when we started Talk Golf Ireland, we weren't really expecting to think about going UK based, but with so many inquiries now from Scotland and, from Spain and Portugal, we said, well, we can't leave out the UK. So um, whilst we have all the Northern Irish golf clubs under the Island of Ireland, we have Scotland and Wales under the UK umbrella. So it's subjective and political, so we have to be careful. So we basically, yeah. So now we're, the more clubs that follow that, club professionals, we're promoting. Everything is for free, by the way. There's no charges for anybody to get reposted or whatever. Yeah, so it's just to let people know that that page is now out there, and
That's
there is a
amazing.
section on our website. So we get a lot of press releases from the UK, agencies and stuff like that about different clubs and stuff. So we would put those up onto our website as well. So
We
there's
will
lots of
ensure that we
information.
pop links on our descriptions as well, Sharon, and we will share that on
Oh,
social
thank
media, because
you.
it's really it is helpful for everybody, that, isn't it? And that community feel has to sort of come through. I
Well,
have
I
a
also
quick.
think it's very, sorry, I keep
No, no, go on.
interrupting.
You carry on.
I think it's very important that other clubs see what other clubs are doing, because you might get an idea, years ago it used to be, I can't tell them because they're like, 500 miles down the road, because they might copy me. But now I think people are like, actually, that's a great idea. That lotto is a great idea. That's a great fundraising thing for our club. Maybe we should look at doing that, So I think you get other ideas from other clubs if you sort of, go on looking at
Yeah,
them.
and I think that's just benefiting everybody, right? It benefits the clubs and it's benefiting the
100%.
members of those clubs. So it's not like there's this big gate kept secret somewhere of what's
Oh,
going
but there
on.
is. Oh, but
Well,
there is.
yeah, that's human nature, isn't it? I suppose.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
Sharon, I have a quick question for you. I'm going to probably go back. It is related to what you're doing now. We connected on TikTok initially, and I messaged you on TikTok because you have just been over at the PGA show in America.
I
So, and
was.
obviously
I
you were
was.
representing golf in Ireland. So how was that experience?
It's a fantastic networking time, but the Irish stick together as they always do, the way it goes. The PGA show is an interesting show. Basically, all the American PGA professionals come to it and they come and see all the new brands, or so all brands that are showcasing their new products, or any new brands that are out there. They have a whole section on new brands and all the rest. I've been asked by a couple of people, should they attend it as an exhibitor? Well, if you can afford it, but it's huge. It's a huge hall. You have to be very, showcasing yourself as a if you're going on your own as an individual. Ireland and Scotland had huge stands, so it was obviously with big signage on the roof, so you can see them from. Not a lot of countries do the show. I mean, they do have a section, like I think South Africa might have been there. It's not one of the biggest shows for like a club to go to. And sorry, when I say not the biggest show, obviously it's a great way if you're looking for American audiences to come to your you know but it's to get those professionals and those people to make appointments. That's where the work takes prior to the event. If you're on the stand, I mean, I would have done it from the K Club. So, and you might find the lead in time could be 2 years away before you'd actually see that relationship coming on board and giving you a call going, oh, by the way, I met you at the PGA show 2 years ago. So it's a great one for tour operators to go over and showcase, because they can obviously have access to a lot of the golf courses here in Ireland. So yeah, I mean, Fáilte Ireland, Tourism Ireland, they do an amazing job of getting clubs. I think there were 37 clubs this year on it, between tour operators and golf clubs, who were featured on the stand, and they do huge promotional work to get people to come to Ireland to play golf. And it's not just golf. I mean, obviously there's all the ancillary stuff that goes with it. You've got the non-golfers in the tours. You've got so much to see and so much Guinness to drink. So it's like,
That
Yeah, I
bit I
suppose
can do. Not very
you've
good
got
at golf, but I
hotels.
can definitely drink the Guinness.
Yeah, yeah. Chris likes a pint of Guinness.
have you had a good pint of Guinness though,
I've had
Chris?
plenty
That's
of
the
those. Yeah,
question.
yeah, plenty of those. Experience of being over with my Irish family, going to the toilet for a quick wee, coming back, and there's 3 more pints of Guinness lined up on the table. I'm like, not sure I can quite keep up with that pace.
Yeah, that's it. That's what happens. It's worth it though.
But yeah, so you've had experience, Sharon, of kind of working at the K Club, one of the biggest clubs in Ireland, and then you're kind of now working at with a lot more kind of grassroots golf clubs. And just kind of talking about that, that kind of tourism that's coming in. Does that filter down to the smaller clubs? Is there, kind of a job to be done to kind of promote those smaller clubs and get people going and playing those? We're going to be coming over and playing the top 100 courses, but there's probably another 100 or so courses over in Ireland that we could go and play that we possibly won't.
Well, there's quite an
Yeah.
unknown one that's not on our list, Chris. It's called the K Club. We might need to go and add that on.
I think after this, they should invite you to play the K Club. Well, unfortunately, the answer is no. It doesn't filter down. But again, to be fair to Tourism Ireland and Fáilte Ireland, they have come up with different packages, like the Wild Atlantic Way, the hidden gems, and there's loads of different loads of different sort of programs that they would advertise abroad to people to come. I mean, there is obviously a market. There's not everybody can afford to play these big courses that are obviously in the top even top 20 in Ireland, and even probably the K Club is out of some people's reach now. A lot of them, like the K Club, would have an open days in the winter time, which would be a lot less, a little bit more affordable. Um, the the other courses, that is the unfortunate thing. So that's one of my missions this year, is to try and elevate these courses. Not a lot of them, as I was saying, a lot of them are member clubs, you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
they wouldn't be owned by a particular person. So therefore, they're very happy in their way that they are. They, whilst they might like to have an extra 200 or 300 green fees outside a year,
Yeah.
they do heavily rely on their local open days within Ireland. So, I would travel to an open day in Ireland because I'm in Ireland. You're not necessarily going to go to one in the UK, or the UK are going to come over to an open day in Ireland. Excuse me. So yeah, I mean, obviously it's trying to get the word out. I think one of the things that I try to do with Talk Golf Ireland is we have a sort of program that we invite clubs to join us for a year program. It's it's very small amount of money, and we try and keep their visibility out there, so it's constantly out there. Because when it comes to looking for new members, or looking to have people to come to your open days, or even people just locally to use your restaurant, which, that's one of the, they don't have to be the member of the club to go in. I think that's a big sort of feeling, that people can't walk into a golf club and have lunch there. And some of the best meals that you'll get in your local area are from your golf club, Um, so it's about keeping the visibility out there through Talk Golf Ireland, and making sure that all these clubs, we have 380 plus, maybe 385 golf courses in the whole of Ireland. So we don't have it's not a lot. We unfortunately lost a few this year, but we're gaining a few as well. We're going to have a few new courses this year as well. So yeah, look, we have to just keep them visible, and we have to make sure that people know about them. And I do believe, though, that if you undersell yourself as a golf club, I see sometimes people offering green fees for 20 euros, and I'm going, please don't do that,
Yeah.
because Americans will not pay 20 euros to play a golf course, because
Yeah.
they'll just think it's no good. Or a visitor will say, well, it obviously can't be a great golf course if it's only 20 euros. Have a local rate for your local members, and your Golf Ireland
Yeah.
members, or whatever, or even your British, Golf Ireland, England, whatever but have an actual advertised rate, so it's a rate that you might just pick up 10, 12 golfers on a higher rate than 50 golfers at the lower rate, so
Yeah. It
uh,
again, sort of in our journey. I'll give you a bit of history on how we went. Chris says to me,
yeah.
"Let's play the top 100 course of the UK and Ireland." I'm thinking, "Yeah, go on then. Whatever. It can't be that much. I'm used to paying 30, 40 pounds for a green fee."
This was after about
Suddenly,
4 or 5 bottles of wine at this point, Sharon. I should
yeah, yeah. I mean, yeah. So I've agreed to this, by the way, and I'm pot committed at this point. Next day I'm like, we're going to do a podcast, all this kind of thing, and then I start looking at the actual websites, and I think, oh, good God, what have I let myself in for? This
Mm.
is luckily my wife was in on that conversation when I agreed to do it, so she can't say that that she wasn't there when it actually happened, and I just made all this up. So it was like the green fee thing has been another thing that has really started becoming more and more apparent. The inflation. I mean, some of them are going up 20, 30 pounds again this year for
Hmm.
2026. I imagine they're going to go up again for 2027. And you kind of go, like, what's the limit? There has to be, every bubble bursts, doesn't it? What's the limit? Because they're getting a bit crazy now, these numbers.
Well, they're filling, though. You see, that's the difference. I suppose those prices are targeted at people coming into the country, into the
Yeah.
UK and Ireland and Scotland, and they know they can get that. Whilst I do think clubs, and a lot of clubs, by the way, do in Ireland do offer a Golf Ireland rate. I'm not saying that doesn't apply to people coming from the UK. So people should ask, is there a rate? It's not the problem of pricing it. The problem is availability.
Yeah.
These big courses, these, the top 20 or top 30 in Ireland have very little availability. And, like Royal County Down and Royal Portrush, their tea times are coming out today. Actually, came out at 9 o'clock this morning. So for 2027, and like I can't even imagine what those phones are like.
Yeah.
Like, you know, you have to be either outside the shop standing there from 6 a.m. in the morning, or you are literally sitting with four phones going, redial, 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 redial. And you need to know you're going to, I'm only talking about those clubs at the moment. Like those ones you have to prepay. There's no discounted rates for tour operators, as far as I'm aware, but that's not, I'm not a tour operator, so I'm sure maybe each one has their own relationships. So yeah, look, they're getting it. And, the
Mm,
people who are benefiting, the course is benefiting from it, the members are benefiting. Royal County Down are doing up their clubhouse at the moment. It is I'm not saying unfair on the average golfer. I do think there should be some sort of accessibility, even if it's just 4 lines a year, a draw or something,
Yeah, yeah,
and that would be a nice idea. But, you know, the financial officers of each board is probably saying no, no.
yeah.
Why would we do that if we
yeah.
can get it?
Absolutely, we can get that green fee. It was interesting. I was having a chat with another chap who's playing the top 100, and he was sort of saying, I just wish we had some kind of like we're not American rate.
Yeah.
You ring up and you just go, oh, okay, you got a, you're from England, right? Fine. Well, this is your rate. It's not advertised, but that's your rate for doing it. I have one slight then follow up. I know you're obviously championing the clubs that aren't in those lists. I mean, that's self fueling as a business development. It just keeps going. But what do you think now that social media is so prevalent and everybody's on Instagram and everyone's seeing all these things, do you think there is an opportunity now for some of the hidden gem clubs to come to the fore a little bit more, because more people can go there, play it, post it, you can see the quality of the course, which might be one of these like, I played an amazing course for €20. I can't believe that's what the green fee was, but it's as good as one of the top 100 courses.
Yeah, I mean, look, all of even the big courses all have members, so we showcase anything the members doing, whether they're from Royal County Down or Portrush or Tralee or Lahinch or any of these fantastic courses. Um, so I mean, some of them don't have members like but a lot of them don't really post. The bigger clubs don't really post. I think the social media is big this, I've certainly seen a huge increase in clubs themselves getting involved in social media. And whilst it's all lovely just to post a video of this hole and that hole, I think the experience of being on the golf course by somebody that is relatable to that person definitely can help. But it's coming up with new ideas and new ways of um, trying to showcase those clubs and I have a plan, but I cannot reveal it yet.
And
uh,
interestingly,
y-
sorry, Sharon. And so I think here it feels like there is a definite trend, changing the type of people that are playing golf here in the UK. Is that kind of happening? It seems to be kind of a younger, more kind of dynamic set of people that are playing golf here, and it's kind of people wearing sort of different clothes, and it's a bit more casual. Is that trend happening in Ireland as well? Is that the same kind of changes
I
happening?
think we have much more stricter policies in golf clubs for what people can wear on the golf course.
Okay.
I mean, there's a lot of them still. A lot of clubs in Ireland are, and my personally believe rightly so, should keep to certain traditions of, like no cargo pants and no whatever the dress codes are. And so I believe in tradition of golf. I think, our when we look at St Andrews, the home of golf, we have to be respectful of the game, and to turn up in ridiculously small amount of clothing, or to turn up in I don't know what they wear in the UK in golf courses, but I haven't seen much online, but I just feel that, let's have just a little bit of, it's a game of respect, it's a game of honor, it's a game of trust, and we have to hold that tradition. In Ireland, I think our membership is a little bit older. Whilst we do have a lot of young people coming through, they tend to sort of dip in and dip out. Like we start very well as juniors, kids, girls and boys, and then they become students in the club, and then obviously they disappear. They've gone to college abroad or in Ireland, even if they're in Ireland, or they now, some that take it on seriously as a career might go to the US, from there, or to schools around Europe. And then it's just not really affordable after that. Some clubs are affordable depending on where they live, but some clubs are not affordable. And, and then they have families, and then they have, obligations. And whilst you, Nish, say your wife is listening to you saying that, there are a lot of women and men that say, hang on a second, we're trying to buy a house here. We've got to we've got to be a bit realistic here, and I do laugh at some of the videos online and stuff like that, with coming in. And
There are some good memes about stuff like that, aren't
there are
there?
some memes for that. I do laugh. Yeah, it is funny, but it's I think start at the range, get a few balls, see, yes, I think people should join a golf club. I think it's really important to support your local club. But the age profile is definitely my category, should I say, not necessarily your category, but my category. And I think that's where the people are who have spare, funds to be able to pay for their annual membership, and are sort of retired now, and this. And golf clubs have evolved from just golf. Like, one of the clubs I'm in, they've got bridge, they've got snooker, they've got walking clubs, art clubs, you name it. And now it's also majorly a tennis club as well. It's now got paddle courts. So it's a whole place to come, and
Yeah.
and a lot of clubs I think in the UK are the same. You go in and you see the man or the lady just sitting there having a cup of tea on her own, and she's happy out.
Yeah, I think you do have to evolve that as according to evolving tastes, I suppose, and evolving schedules. People aren't
Mhm.
on a strict I go to work at 9 and finish at 5 anymore. You're flexible working. A lot of people are sharing parental responsibilities and things like that. And anything that can, if you can bring your whole family to the golf club, because then you can play golf and the family can play some sports and do something social. Everyone's a winner there in that situation.
Yeah, I think the hardest thing for people is to make that initial jump, because I think you had said to me, and we are off chatting about elitedness. I mean, golf is very in people's mind, is very for the elite or whatever. And Golf Ireland have done some amazing programs last year. I don't know if you saw them. They had people from, I not say walks of life is the right term, but playing golf and getting into golf and teaching them how to play golf. And so they were trying to make it showable that it's accessible for everybody. And one of the things I'm also advocating really, so I'm also working with the England, Wales, and blind golf, and blind golf in Ireland, and not just blind golf, but disability is in golf. People, it's the mental health of these people have been phenomenally improved by getting involved in golf and turning up. But as I say, getting to make that first step, whether you're an abled person or or need assistance, it's there are people there in clubs that are so willing to help you make that jump. And we do a lot of get into golf programs for men and women, and they just go straight away. So they're meeting like-minded people, in their club. And we advertise, as many as we can see that are happening in clubs. And they get a 6-week program. They've never put a club in their hand, and they come up and they're hitting a ball with like-minded people, and then they offer them a special rate to join, and every member in the club knows that they're, so they don't play in competitions for probably a year, but they get into the club, and it's a fantastic way. So yeah, I mean, I'm a huge advocate for people with, as one of the guys said to me, who was partially blind, said it saved his life. Like, golf saved his life. And you know if you have a disability, these people are phenomenal to watch them.
Yeah, I
Phenomenal. I
mean,
mean,
and
I
you've got
never
to
give out about a shot again after watching these guys play such good golf.
you've got to grow the game, and the wider the base, the better it is. Really, if you
Yeah,
can tap into
100%.
places that again, we're thankful. Now's the best time to be alive. We're more inclusive than ever, and we're more aware of people's challenges than ever. And yeah, if we can provide that platform for people to get that mental health benefit from golf, we all know it's there.
Yeah,
Then
absolutely,
that's a
100%.
wonderful initiative. Yeah, absolutely amazing.
Yeah. And I've got two young girls that I'd love to be able to get into golf. It's not quite happened yet, but so you were voted, Sharon, one of the top 50 most influential women in Irish sport, I believe. That's a pretty stunning accolade. So what does the state of Irish women's golf look like at the minute? Is that changing? Is that becoming more accessible? Have you got more kind of lady members, or?
Yeah. Um, you know, it- Junior golf in Ireland is growing, but growing at a faster pace for the boys than it is the girls. Again, with Golf Ireland, they do an awful lot of programs to get girls more involved in golf. I think again the problem is that when girls arrive, they want to play together. The young girls anyway. And then they, as I said earlier, they go into families, they go, so things get lost. Um, the state of women's golf in Ireland, it is absolutely growing. I mean, we have the KPMG Women's Irish Open in the K Club again, more, but it's on the south course. And that's and we've had the KPMG Irish Open. Like last year was in Carton House. It was voted the best venue event that for 2025. And watching these professional golfers coming over and playing, and especially when we have the Irish professional golfers, all helps, because the crowds at Carton House last year were, I was amazed. I didn't expect to see what I did, and not just women. There was an awful lot of men watching them. Like, they do say that if you want to actually really learn good golf, you should watch women professional golfers, because they swing it slow. They have a beautiful temperament, and so I think there was an awful lot of that going on. People watching, the actual stroke of play. So women's golf in Ireland, we have a lot of people out there advocating women's golf,
Yeah.
um, and they're doing a great job. I think it's going to take a while to really ever. I don't think it will ever get to the same level. Um, One thing that does drive me a little bit, um, you know, sort of critical, is that when I see, a conference that has, one speaker, or in fact, I've been come across conferences where there are no female speakers. It's like women are not, more so that in the industry of golf and working in the industry, we have very few women working in golf. Um, we've actually working as director of golfs, or I could count them on probably one or on two hand, 10, maybe maximum 10 people in Ireland. And we have amazing people who can speak, and so things like that don't help. I'm not saying that they should be on the stage or they should be speaking, but things like that don't help the advocate of people who try to, promote women in sport, women in golf, should I say. And but whilst we do have Golf Ireland and our sports federation and all the rest are constantly doing programs to encourage women to come, it really has to come from, um, you know, bigger organizations and people like, who are the sponsors have been great, and forget all of these new sponsors for the Women's Irish Open is fantastic. I think they just announced another one yesterday, DRES, an agency, and there are other ones as well. So you know it's showing that these brands are trusting in the event to showcase their product. And I think that's one of the things that, where I would get involved in a just not just from this from the organizer side, but from the sponsor side. They would say to me, look, we're sponsoring this event, we're spending a lot of money on this, on women's golf, and but we're not getting the traction that we want. So I would come in and I would, try and help them get that traction. And it's for them, it's about getting their name out there.
Yeah.
I don't think, they're too bothered about the, whilst they're supporting the women's golf and they're supporting the golfers on the thing, and they're supporting prize money, and it's amazing and all the rest, and it's great for the professional golfer. They're interested in people coming to their website and, buying their brand, or buying into their insurance, or their picking up the phone to use them to sell a house, or whatever it is. So I think sometimes that's, the sponsorship for women's golf has got better, and now we are using that elevation. Like I was chatting to the LET tour there, at the PGA show, and we're having a chat of how to keep elevating. And it's all about visibility. It's all about getting your name out there, and it's keeping them out there, and for women's golf, obviously, in this case. Oh, I mean, it's the same for the men's tours, obviously, but they have much more money.
Yeah. Yeah.
But prize funds have gone up, though. They've gone up significantly for the golfers, so which is fantastic, and presumably it'll just keep rising. Do I think we'll ever be in the same level? Probably not, but that's okay.
No, but I mean,
You know?
the you are noticing now that certainly there are more personality-driven content is coming out from any kind of women's events or anything like that, and I think
Mhm.
that's great, because that's the kind of point of difference you can make, that by having people who are engaging, players who are happy to talk to fans and engage with sponsors quite a lot, because actually then you're getting more value and you're getting better content. And like you were saying, I very much agree, by the way, go and watch women play, because that's how you learn how to swing a golf club. But if you're then seeing that, and then you go up to a tournament and that player, I mean, Nelly Corder, for example, she's massive on social media. If you're getting engagement from her, and then
Mm.
you go to a men's event and you're cordoned off and you can't get anywhere near them, you can't, whatever. And it's kind of like, oh, hang on a minute. That is a better experience now as a golfer, because golf isn't supposed to be as roped in and things like that. It is just, we
Yeah, I
Yeah.
all
think.
play the same sport on the same track.
Yeah, you
And I
absolutely.
think you've got to remember the age of these young girls. They're all into their social media. They're all, and that's a very attractive. Like, I get asked quite a lot, like, oh, how can we get sponsorship? And I look at their social media profile, and they, some of them have none, and you're going, like, what sort of young person doesn't have a social media profile these days? And fair enough, if they don't want to. It's very hard to put yourself out there. I found it very difficult initially to put your face into a camera. You're doing the same. Do you physically want to be, in front of the camera? So I think, people want to see that journey, and they want to know what how your golf is, how they're learning, how they're, what clubs they're using, whether it's male or female professional golfers. And we have some great up and coming young boys, professional golfers as well, that have just, who are pro. And, they have, the boys aren't as great at social media, personally, as the girls are. So yeah, they just, if they want those sponsors and they want those people to take notice, there's so many other, they're such role models now for the younger people to play. And I think so many more people want to play professional golf or elite amateur golf because of these people, because of obviously the Roys are, even Roy's gone on to the next generation, we're moving down into the next one. So I think that the health of the game is good, but these guys need to just a little bit more on socials now would be fantastic, you know.
So just kind of bringing it back round to golf in Ireland then, and obviously we're kind of talking about top 100 here, but have you got any particular either areas of Ireland or any particular golf courses that you kind of really love to play or love to be out on?
Oh God. I mean, you know, the Northwest. Oh, there's so many. I mean, I would be shooting myself in the foot. You know, there are so many golf courses, really amazing golf courses that are out there. You know, I'm sure there's all the ones you've heard about. I've been very lucky to have played all of them. You know, you've got all the clubs up in the north. There's a few golf courses in the north I have not played, which I'm definitely going to play, like Ardglass and Malone and Belfast Golf Club, you know. And then, you know, I've played Donegal, Rosapenna, Carn, Enniscrone, Strand Hill. That whole area is, you know, well, okay, Rosapenna is a bit further up, but you know, one of my favorite courses, I think, is in Rosapenna is the old um one of they have three, the Sandy Hills, the and it
St.
was
Patrick, they
just
got St. Patrick.
that's the new
That's
one.
the new
That's
one,
the
isn't it?
new that's a big course. They don't allow buggies,
Right.
and it is a big course. I'm not sure it was designed with females in mind. So maybe female professional golfers,
Right. Yeah.
yes. I'm not sure. It's a very, you know, for the average golfer, it's a big course. It's phenomenal, but it's a big course. Carn is just, you know, another end of the world. And when you came in, like I loved Mullingar, I said Mullingar earlier on. I haven't played a huge amount of golf courses, you know, around in sort of the center of, you know, in these Ireland. Obviously, you've got Adair Manor. Clearly, is going to be my bucket list is to play the other Adair Manor, the old Adair Manor, which is beside Adair Manor.
Ah,
And
didn't know that.
so, yeah, so there's two golf courses called Adair. Well, it's a bit confusing, and I think people have pulled up at, you know,
Ah,
thinking, oh, I've got a tea time for Adair Manor. It's like Colleen and Colleen Castle, you know, we have a few of those.
yeah.
You've obviously go down into Cork Golf Club, designed by Mackenzie, fantastic. Monkstown Golf Club, you know, all these little hidden gems, Castle Martyr, you know, and then you come up to like Rosslare and, you know,
Uh,
Arklow Bay, Arklow and
now, Sharon,
Wooden
obviously,
Bridge. I can't, like, there's just so many.
well, yeah, and I'm not letting you off the hook now, Sharon, I'm afraid. So I'm going to ask you, you're going to really have to stretch the memory banks now. I'm going to ask you for your top three Irish golf courses and also your top three unheralded or hidden gem courses.
Jesus,
I
that's
know,
not
I know.
fair.
I'm so sorry. Should have asked you to prep for this, but yeah,
Yeah, you
I
should
said
have
the
asked
red
me to
button
prep
at
for
the
this.
bottom, Sharon.
can't let somebody who's
Yeah,
played.
I'm trying to get clients, not to get rid of them all. I'm not answering that.
Okay, fine, no problem.
No, I have to say, I think probably, you know, oh God, I'm not gonna. Obviously, I'm not gonna go with too dark, but I
Yeah,
mean, you know, one of my absolute favorite courses, and I don't know whether it's just because I cannot make head nor wind of the 11th hole, and I'm determined one day is Tralee. You know, I mean, it's just, oh, I just love it. It's just one of those, um, yeah, it's just one of those
that
courses you've got
reaction.
to just, yeah, it's just, you know, they have this hole on the 11th and I just cannot hit it. I just can't work it out. I just, and one day, no, it's a super golf course and they, you know, they're so welcoming down there and I really enjoy playing with them and playing like the course. Um, the old head is stunning as well. My hidden gem would definitely be, I'm going to say, my hidden gem, Wooden Bridge.
Okay,
is definitely on my list. Cork Golf Club, the Mackenzie designed. Whilst it's not that difficult, of course, the greens are just.
Some of those Mackenzie, I mean, we're members of a Mackenzie golf course, and it's like just there's something about them, you know. They just it's not long ours, and looks quite unassuming, but haven't got bored of it in all these years.
I think he had an evil eye when it came to greens. You know, it just was like, haha, you think you've all landed
Yeah,
there. No, it didn't. It's going to fall about 40 feet below it.
yeah.
More
Try and get
importantly,
out of
Sharon,
this. Yeah.
Huh?
more importantly, where are we going to get our best pint of Guinness on our travels around Ireland?
Oh God, I don't drink. Well, I've got to say Gleason's in Booterstown because that's my local. You'll get the best food and the best pint that you'll ever get, and they have accommodation above, so it's a great location. Um, I would definitely visit the Guinness Storehouse if you're in the city centre.
Yeah.
The Straffin Inn outside the K Club, they say, is one of the best pints of Guinness as well. Um, Cian Shabale, which is food there is phenomenal, and the pint of Guinness is fantastic. So my husband says, um, yeah, you'd be hard pressed not to get a good pint of Guinness
Yeah.
in a good place in
Yeah.
Ireland. To be honest, yeah. It's how they pour it. If they don't pour it right, then just don't drink it.
Yeah, brilliant! Super excited to come and visit you guys at some point either this year or next year and play some of these courses.
Yeah, well, look, I'm very lucky to have been a club manager. I'm very lucky to know a lot of club managers. Obviously, you know, if there's any help I can do for you to try and get you into these courses, no problem. We will certainly do. We'll do our best, and hopefully you won't have to pay astronomical fees. But I mean, as I said before, it's the availability. So
Well, it's
yeah.
your availability as well, Sharon, because I don't think we can come over without playing with you. So, we've got to coordinate diaries.
You didn't tell me what your handicaps were now, lads.
I mean, my handicap is just golf. I'm not very good, but it's not about that for me. It's just let's take in the scenery and look at some iconic tee shots and just wonder at what's laid out in front of us.
Yeah, I was
Yeah,
quite a good junior,
absolutely.
but I then didn't play for like 20 years, so I'm very much an average golfer these days.
And you see,
Yeah,
it goes
Chris
back
is
to my
terrible
point
now.
that
Actually, I'll throw it out there.
well, once you're doing a great job, and having anybody out there promoting golf is great. I think one of the and I have to mention one of my clients, Limerick Golf Club, just outside of Dare Manor, and what a golf course. And for anybody coming into that area, it's an absolute must play. But look, basically anybody can get in touch with me directly through my website. There's a contact form. um we're here to help. I've got people that I work with, tour operators, people that we can get tea times for. We can book any trips for people within Ireland as well, and we're here to promote the courses across the country. So yeah, we'll just keep doing what we're doing, and hopefully you know people will come on board and follow and subscribe. Please subscribe. And we send out now, well, I've just put up there for a new for any new well, not new subscribers, for all the subscribers. So we have about 6,500 subscribers now with Talk Golf. And we've just put up a 4-ball at the Ryder Cup course on the Palmer North course for and it'll only go to the competition link will only be going to subscribers. So we're going to give it about 2 weeks before we put up the competition link. So yeah, so get subscribing. You never know, lads. You might be.
Where's that link?
Where's that link? On my Instagram.
Yeah,
We'll,
that's it.
we'll repost
Absolutely.
that as well on our socials.
I'm sure you'll agree that was a wonderful chat with Sharon. She is a colourful character. She's full of life, full of enthusiasm for golf in Ireland and women's golf as well. And we had the most amazing time chatting with her. We're hoping to get over to Ireland to play golf and play with Sharon, because I think we're going to have to experience her personality and her character in person. It's going to be amazing. So we hope you enjoyed that episode about golf in Ireland. And I just want to remind everybody that today's episode was dedicated to Bernard Johnston, who is Chris's uncle, who is not feeling very well. Bernard, we all wish you a speedy recovery, and we hope you get a chance to listen to this and enjoy the content. Until next time on the Top 110 Golf Podcast.